Can you hear me? Oh, good. Hello and welcome to the library. My name is Serdd, and I will be your host and narrator for this episode. This episode will be a little different from my other episodes in that you will not see any chat or any interaction. That is because I have had to go back, and apparently my earlier streams of these next chapters, they were just overpowered by music, and I couldn't understand why. Hey, why is no one watching these videos? Then I went to watch them, and they're intelligible. So I will be fixing these. And so the next 4 chapters, 3, 4, 5, and 6, will be getting all new episodes. Now, whether or not I break them up or can get them all done in one go, we will see. This is completely new. So let me get over to our starting page and we will get started. If you are new to this, or if you're not sure what this is all about, I have a audio fanfiction podcast entitled Serdd's Audio Fanfictions, and I am a published audiobook narrator. So I do that on the side. I have a full-time job, and then I also do both the podcast and now the live stream. So we are very busy. But I love reading the stories that I love, and I love to voice and voice act the stories that I love. So getting to do these is a lot, just so much fun. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my mic here. I hope that's still okay. I just want to make sure that the camera can pick up my mouth movements for my... Ooh, why is it moving? I can't make it any tighter. I need to get a new arm. Alrighty. So the story here, if you're joining me from chapters 1 and 2, the episode before this is Married Thrice to Salted Fish by Bika B. That happens every blinking time, and it startles me every single time. It's the sound of my automatic fish feeder. It startles me. Oh, also, I always forget to introduce him. This right here is my little baby Yui. He is a Japanese Spitz, and he is my baby and my bestest buddy, and he always joins us. Usually, if he's actually in the room, his tail will be wagging. And if it's not, it's either he's not in the room or I've already turned it off. But he's not in the room right now. He's having a power hour downstairs, and but I had to get this done for all y'all. So let's go over to the streaming page and let's get started. Right. Also, if you're watching this and you notice the little, what is that bar at the bottom? The affiliate bar that says that's there. If you would like to help me out, please, 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 I would love it if you hop on over to Twitch, where all the links are in the description and in the header of the YouTube page and all the places. But if you would be so kind as to head on over to my Twitch page and follow, or like and subscribe here on YouTube, that would be amazing, and I would be so incredibly grateful. My dream is to be able to do this the live streaming and the reading and all of this full time as my full time job. Um, and so the more exposure, the more people I can get to talk to and entertain, the closer I get to achieving that dream. So every little bit helps. So like, follow, subscribe, all the things. Thank you so much. Alrighty. I wanted to. No, I guess it's okay where it is. Should I move this up a little? No, because it just takes it away. No, okay, it's good where it is. All right, I'm going to take a wee bit of sippy drink and we'll get started. We should have a counter for how many times I say, let's get started, and then don't start. I will end up having to take the. I may not. I haven't decided yet whether or not I'll take the actual episodes down, or simply retitle them as flukes, because I think for one or two of them there was actual chat, and I would hate to take away people's chat. All right, 4 chapters. Let's do this. Chapter 3. Losing your temper for trivial matters. Why bother in retrospect? Lin Qingyu got up and left. The patient himself has lost all desire to live, so what did he have to worry about? The sooner Wancheng died, the sooner he could return to the Lin residence. Lin Qingyu went to the study. He came to the Nan'an Hou Mansion with only 2 boxes of things. One box contained clothing, and the other contained medical books. According to the rules of the Hou Mansion, he could bring 2 dowry maids with him. But he wasn't used to being served by a woman. When he was in the Lin residence, he'd had one page who grew up with him, who joined him in his studies and reading. It wasn't some glamorous thing to be married as a male wife. He didn't want his little page to enter the Hou Mansion as dowry. And so he came to the Hou Mansion alone, with probably only this one box of medical books to keep him company in the future. Among medical books, there were many ancient ones that he had yet to read. He didn't know there may be records of cases similar to Wancheng's in these ancient books. Lin Qingyu immersed himself in his reading and finally calmed down. When he was in school, his classmates thought that the medical books were boring and complicated. Reading just 3 pages was enough to get them sleeping. But for Lin Qingyu, those novels his classmates yearned for weren't even a tenth as interesting as medical books. He, like his father, had a highly retentive memory. What his classmates took a day to memorize, he needed only to read once to be able to memorize and recite backwards. His father was once of a mind to have him take the imperial examination, but he just wanted to be a medical officer. He liked the feeling of a patient getting better under his own hands. He wanted to enter the imperial hospital, where famous doctors from all over the world gathered. He wanted to hone his medical skills with them, to find cures for all kinds of incurable diseases, and to help the people. He could have. He almost could have. Xiaojun. The voice did not sound like that of a servant girl's. Then Qingyu looked up. Sure enough, it was the Momo who kept pestering him to change the way of his address. It was said that her name was Liu. Then Qingyu said coldly, "What?" Liu Momo was all smiles. "Xiaojun, it's time to eat." Lin Qingyu didn't have any appetite at all. But these dogs in the Nan'an Hou Mansion weren't worth harming his body over. Bring the food. I'll eat in the study. Liu Momo waved her hands again and again. This cannot be, Xiaojun. Lin Qingyu frowned. Why can it not be? Does the Hou Mansion's rules say no eating in the study? That is not the case. It is the madam's order. It was because of the Qiangxi that your young master got his life back. Xiaojun is the young master's lucky star. You must stay together so that the young master's illness can heal faster. To refute such remarks would only make him appear stupid. If a Qiangxi really could cure diseases, what need would Daiyu have for doctors? Why would the court go to such great lengths to train medical officers? If you get sick, then just get married. Then everything would be fine and well with the world. Lin Qingyu looked at Liu Momo and asked, Momo, how old will you be this year? Liu Momo didn't know what Lin Qingyu intended by asking this question. Nevertheless, she still smiled and said, This old woman is 52. Slightly older voice than 52, but it's the times. A 52-year-old who looks like 42. I might not necessarily live to reach 52. Momo is very lucky. You should be the one to take care of the young master. That way he will heal even faster. Liu Momo's smile froze. Xiaojun jests. Lin Qingyu's face turned cold. Do I look like I'm joking? Go. Liu Momo's face turned extremely ugly. She was Madame Hou. She was Madame Hou, Liang Xi's confidant. Who in the Hou Mansion, save for the masters, dared to not treat her with respect? Even the masters usually gave her a lot of face. What was Lin Qingyu? Wording it nicely, he was the Xiaojun. But put another way, he was just the male wife bought by the Hou Mansion to renew the life of the young master. This was only his first day since he was married into this family, and he was already scowling at her. Seeing that Liu Momo made no move to leave, Lin Qingyu sneered. You do not know to recognize your betters. A servant dares to turn a deaf ear to the Xiaojun's order. Is this not one of the rules of the Hou Mansion? Madame Liu lowered her eyes. This servant dares not. It is only that the madam has personally ordered this servant to bring this chicken soup she had ordered to be stewed with ginseng. If Xiaojun and the young master does not have a taste for it, it would be betrayal of the madam's good intentions. Ginseng chicken soup? Stupid. Did they not know that a person who is in poor health cannot handle tonic-like foods? Did Liang Xi think that her son was not sick enough? She had merely personally ordered someone to make it. She hadn't made it personally herself. Lin Qingyu no longer looked at her. He turned the page of his medical book. You give it to the young master. Liu Momo gritted her teeth. She secretly gave Lin Qingyu a dirty look, took the chicken soup, and left. Calm was restored in the study, but Lin Qingyu grew a bit absent-minded instead. Lu Wancheng is currently suffering from gastrointestinal damage. Having him ingest tonics would only be putting frost atop snow on his already weak body. Lu Wancheng has been ill since he was a child, and prolonged illness turns patients into doctors. How could Liang Xi, as his mother, not even know this? Once or twice was fine, but if done over the long term, Wancheng's body would definitely become weaker and weaker. Fine, he'll just consider it as him doing good works and accumulating merit. Wancheng's situation was really rare, and he wanted more time to study it. Lin Qingyu left the study and came to the dining room, but he didn't see Wancheng. He asked a passing maidservant, "Where is the young master?" Maidservant, "The young master, he has said he was too lazy to get up and wanted to eat in bed." It was only right for laid-up patients to lie down more. Lin Qingyu headed once again to the bedroom, but before he even entered the room, he was already saying, "The ginseng chicken soup your mother sent. Don't." Sitting up in bed, Wancheng was eating rice porridge with some side dishes. Huh? There was a square table in front of Wancheng's bed. Most of the things on the table were light dishes, except for that big pot of chicken soup with ginseng slices floating in it. Lin Qingyu saw the pristine soup ladle beside the pot. Wancheng actually hadn't touched the chicken soup. Wancheng chewed slowly, swallowing all the contents in his mouth before saying, "Dr. Lin, what an unexpected visit from such an infrequent visitor. Have you eaten?" Lin Qingyu asked, "This ginseng chicken soup that your mother personally ordered someone to make. Why won't you drink it?" Wancheng wiped his mouth with the kerchief and said casually, "I can't eat the things she brings." Lin Qingyu asked curiously, "Why?" "They say I have half a year left to live, so any moment less than that would be less than half a year. If they want to send me away sooner, then I'd have to make a fuss about that." Lin Qingyu became more and more surprised. "Why would they want to send you away sooner?" Wancheng winked. "Care to venture a guess?" Lin Qingyu was momentarily speechless. "Do you think you're funny?" Wancheng laughed out loud. He laughed so much he accidentally choked himself, coughing again and again, his handsome face turning a pale red. Lin Qingyu had no idea what Wancheng was laughing about, but it wasn't difficult to see that the relationship between Wancheng and Liang Shi wasn't the compassionate mother and filial son relationship that it seemed to be on the surface. Seeing the maidservant by his side hurriedly patting Wancheng's back for him, Lin Qingyu took back his half-outstretched hand. "What? What's so funny?" Wancheng stopped coughing, with a smile in his breath. I am but a little funny, but still very full of delight." Lin Qingyu disdained. "With your broken body, I'm afraid you won't be able to make use of whatever delightfulness you have, no matter how big it is." Oh, I didn't pick up on the dick joke, but there it is. "You're right," Wancheng sighed. "This body really is holding me back. If only I were in my own." "What do you mean?" Wancheng smiled and sidestepped the question. "Well, here I am. I'm here now. Dr. Lin, sit down and have a meal. I can't drink this chicken soup, but you can." Lin Qingyu said, "Where do you want me to sit?" Wancheng looked around. "Why don't you come sit on the bed too?" Excuse me. Lin Qingyu didn't feel the least bit grateful. "Excuse me, I'll just eat by myself. I will be taking my leave." "Wait!" Wancheng stopped him. "I have something I want to give you."
I was just reading the list of gifts we've received from the guests, and I found a gift that suits you very well.
Lin Qingyu didn't even look at it.
No.
Wancheng gave a
At least take a look at it first. Just a look won't cost you anything. Hualu. Hualu?
Hualu was the other maid besides Feng Qin, who was Sorry, let me do that again. Oh, excuse me. Slight heartburn. Oh, goodness. Oh, why am I doing that? I've got a drink here. I've got all the drinks. Okay. Hualu was the other maid beside Feng Qin, who was stationed to serve in the room. She was rather quick-witted and lovely. She presented him with something and said with a smile, "If the young master hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known what this is." Lin Qingyu condescended to give it a look, and was startled. What Hualu had given him was something similar to a cloth bag. It was made of leather and could be rolled up easily. Spread out, it was only a thin layer and couldn't hold anything. Ordinary people might not be able to tell what it was, but doctors would know at a glance that this was an acupuncture bag. The inner double layer was where the needles were inserted. Lin Qingyu couldn't help from reaching out his hand, stroking this first-class leather bag that felt so good to the touch. His long eyelashes trembled slightly. His eyes turned deep and dark. Wancheng smiled and said,
"Do you like it?"
The Nan'an Hou Mansion had celebrated a wedding, and most of those who sent gifts were high-ranking dignitaries in the capital. Lin Qingyu picked up the gift list from the table and looked at it. Most of them were gold, silver, and jade, antique calligraphy and paintings. A small acupuncture bag paled in comparison against them. But Wancheng insisted on giving him this. Lin Qingyu looked at the characters embroidered in gold thread on the outside of the bag.
Lulin wedding, forever with one heart.
A self-deprecating smile appeared at the corner of his lips.
Thank you, young Master Hou, for your kindness. But what is the point of giving me this?
Wancheng placed a fist against his lips and coughed.
Why would it be pointless? You can use it in the future. Oh, for your exclusive use, you mean?
Wancheng's smile faded, and he was silent for a while. He said,
"Sorry, I didn't mean that. I just..."
Halfway through, he lost all seriousness. A second. Halfway through, he lost all seriousness.
If you don't want it, then you don't want it. Don't be angry. Although an angry Dr. Lin is also very eye-catching. Too much anger is bad for your health. As the saying goes, if you think back on it, you will find that losing your head over trivial things is unnecessary. If you die from anger, who would feel satisfied? Moreover, it is bothersome and laborious.
Lin Qingyu said calmly,
"I'm not angry."
Wancheng beckoned to Hualu. Hualu brought her ear closer to him. "What's the matter, young master?" Wancheng said,
"Someone's angry, but I won't tell you who it is."
Lin Qingyu. Are you serious? My crickets didn't work? One sec, I'm interrupting this because my crickets didn't fucking work again. And it makes me really upset. Try this again. Oh, that's why. Got the crickets. Apologies. Crickets. Crickets is kind of our thing. You'll get very used to the crickets. Sorry about that. I am notorious and stingy. Like, I have to have my crickets because these ellipses, these three little dots, happen all the flipping time in this book. So you will hear them. Crickets. And if it doesn't work, it's usually crickets. Shh. Wancheng. Oh, sorry. Shh. Sorry. Let me start that again. That was just stupid. Shh. Wancheng raised his index finger in front of his lips and looked out the window. That mother of mine is here. Lin Qingyu sneered. Who are you shushing? You're the one who keeps on talking. As for your mother, she's probably here to criticize me violently. Wancheng stroked his chin and said, Let me guess. Did she tell you to stick close to me, but you didn't feel like paying her any attention? In his surprise, Lin Qingyu forgot to be angry. How did you know? That. How did you know? Please forgive me. I'm doing this after I've already recorded this week's chapter for my podcast. So if I'm slurring my words a little bit, it's literally that my tongue is tired. So apologies. I hate saying that stuff to people who aren't in business. All right. Wancheng smiled meaningfully. I know a lot of things. Lin Qingyu thought for a moment, then smiled. He lifted up his sleeves and took up Lin Qingyu's bowl of half-eaten porridge. Young Master Hou, I'll feed you your porridge. Wancheng. Huh? Outside, Liang Shi, with Lu Momo lending her arm for support, entered the courtyard. Feng Qian greeted her and said, Greetings, madam. Liang Shi asked her, Where is the oh, fuck, I can't remember her name. Where is the where is the young master? Answering madam, the young master is eating in the bedroom. Is Xiaozhen with him? Feng Qian shook her head. Xiaozhen is alone in the study. Liu Momo whispered, Madam, you have heard it yourself. What I told you were all things that Xiaozhen has said. Liang Shi straightened the hair ornament by her temples and said calmly, I believe you. Let's go. We'll go in and take a look. Liu Momo walked lightning quick, opening the way for her mistress. Let me just see who this is. Oh, yeah. The eldest young master has just woken up last night. It is precisely at this time that he needs someone to wait upon him. Although there is a maid in the room, Xiaozhen is Xiaozhen after all. With the husband laid up in bed, what reason could there be for his wife to not take care of him? This is only the first day, and Xiaozhen is already neglecting him so. How is this worthy of our Lu family's marriage? Everyone knew that the Nan'an Hou Mansion's madam had a gentle temperament. Yet at this moment, she too couldn't help pulling a long face as she sped up her pace. The two rushed into the inner room, almost like fire was nipping at their heels. The wedding decorations had yet to be removed. Liu Wancheng was lying Liu Wancheng was lying fuck you, you said the same thing twice. Liu Wancheng was half lying on the marriage bed. Lin Qingyu was seated beside him, holding the porridge bowl in one hand and holding the spoonful of porridge to Liu Wancheng's mouth with the other. He called him young Master Hou. Liu Wancheng laughed and said, "It's a bit hot. Blow on it first." Lin Qingyu narrowed his eyes, looking like he was about to poke a hole in Liu Wancheng's smiling face. In any case, the husbands, one handsome and luxurious, the other bright and dignified, looked nothing but joyous and harmonious. It seemed that their time together would be good and peaceful. Liang Shi and Liu Momo both stood there stunned until Liu Wancheng looked at them.
Why is Mother here?
Liang Shi frowned but quickly relaxed her expression. She said softly, "Mother came to see how your appetite is." As she said so, she cast an almost indiscernible glance at Liu Momo. Liu Momo was utterly discomfited, and she asked in a low voice, "Didn't you say that Xiaojun was in the study?" Feng Qin said, dazed, He was just in the study a moment ago." Lin Qingyu put down the bowl of porridge, stood up, and said,
Madam just sent Liu Momo here not long ago. Why would she be here again and in person? Are you here to personally confirm whether young Master Hou is Are you here to personally confirm whether young Master Hou has had a good meal?
Liu Wancheng smiled and said,
"It's so cold outside, and my mother came all the way to see me. I'm moved."
Liang Shi forced a smile and said, "How could a mother not be concerned about her child? Wancheng, have you drank the chicken soup that mother sent you?"
I wanted to drink it.
Liu Wancheng looked at Lin Qingyu,
but he wouldn't let me.
Lin Qingyu said calmly,
"It is written in a book. Only once the evil spirits are expelled can a person then take tonics. Young Master Hou is now physically weak. Too strong a tonic will only be a burden on his body. This is but general knowledge. Surely Madam knows this."
"Get him, bitch." Liang Shi's expression became even uglier. She opened her mouth.
Naturally, Mother knows this. It must be due to the negligence of her subordinates, forgetting to offer this reminder,"
Liu Wancheng said with a smile.
"Wouldn't you say so, Liu Momo?"
Liu Momo looked quietly at Liang Shi. Seeing that Liang Shi refused to look at her, she understood. Bracing herself, she knelt down. "Yes, it is the servant's fault. The servant should be punished." Without waiting for Liang Shi to speak, Liu Wancheng said,
"Qingyi, how do you think she should be punished? This matter concerns the young Master Hu's health. We have no choice but to punish a little to prevent a lot. This should serve as a warning to others,"
Lin Qingyu said.
"According to the rules of the Hou Mansion, you should be fined 3 months of allowance and made to do drudgery for a month."
Liu Wancheng nodded.
"I think this will do. But what I think is of no matter. What does Mother think?"
Liang Shi forced a smile and said, "It shall be handled as Qingyu said." After that, Liang Shi was obviously preoccupied, and after sitting around for a while, she took Liu Momo with her and left. When there were only 2 people left in the room, Liu Wancheng asked,
"How did Liu Momo provoke you?"
Lin Qingyu said,
"She told me twice to change my term of address." "Change what term of address? She asked you to call me husband?"
Lin Qingyu's face looked cold as jade.
Liu Wancheng laughed. Dr. Lin, you really know how to nurse a grudge. Lin Qingyu narrowed his eyes at him. Is that funny? Liu Wancheng held back a smile. Then I won't laugh. But how did you know the rules of the Hou Mansion? Lin Qingyu said indifferently. Liu Momo insisted on telling them to me. I tried my best not to listen, but I can't help it if my memory is too good. Liu Wancheng smiled and said, Well, damn. She played right into your hands there.
Whew. I need to take a little break and hydrate. Ugh. Oh, he's very sleepy. All right, I think this is going to probably end up being 2 chapters each instead of the 4 that I had originally planned. Um, just because I clearly don't have the voice in me tonight to do all 4. I'll be lucky to get through these 2. Um, or maybe I just save it and we'll see how long this goes. Honestly, I may just pause this and or stop this and you heard that, right? I think that was Yui barking downstairs. Okay, I've got to hurry. No. Is that outside? Oh, okay. That's outside. You can hear that, right? Yeah. Okay, you can hear that. That is my neighbor's yappy dog. It's very, very hot here. And in my little studio room, I do not have any kind of cooling, and I have to turn the fan off while we read so that it doesn't create interference or static. So it gets very, very hot. And so, because it's nighttime now and it's starting to cool down, I thought, oh, I'll just leave the window open and let it cool down naturally. But then you're going to hear everything that's going on the street. So you're going to hear my neighbor's yappy little dog. It's a nice little dog, but you know, people who are new dog owners or just should not have dogs. My neighbor is one of those. Alrighty. But it is kind of funny because he was his entire life growing up he was terrified of dogs, and then his wife got it and just brought one home one day, so he had to deal with that. But their backyard is all scraggly and the fence is all falling down, so they can't just let the dog in the backyard, so he has to walk this dog. And then I shouldn't laugh. Oh my goodness, I shouldn't laugh, but he's an arsehole. So, and then his wife left him for his cousin. It's either, okay, wait, this is going to sound bad. It's either his cousin or her cousin. There's a cousin in there. Maybe, it may have been like a friend of the family or something. I'm not sure. Anyways, and so she ended up leaving him, and now he has kept the dog because the dog only likes him. There's some drama for you. I've got. See, I don't cut things out of these videos, and I should. This is the kind of chatter that I do when I'm recording my podcast. But then I can edit it all out and you don't hear any of it. All right. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention as I was reading this. Keep in mind that Lin Qingyu, even though he'll do what is on paper considered bad things, he's doing it to bad people. So you know how in the book you're going, oh, I wish that person would get their comeuppance, or I wish they'd get some kind of revenge that was equal to their bullshit? Lin Qingyu dishes it out, and we love him for it. Lin Qingyu, like, fucking boss. He's awesome. I actually, the reason I want to get to affiliate so bad is just so that I can get emoticons made
And one of the first one I want made are a chibi version of Lin Qingyu, and then like a boss, because he's, oh, especially in the coming chapters. Oh, we love him, love him. He's so cool. All right. Oh. Okay. Chapter 4. Hey, how old am I? Too many things had happened today, so it wasn't until he was about to go to bed that Lin Qingyu realized that he had miscalculated. He forgot to ask someone to put up a bed in the study. He originally planned to sleep hunched over the table in the study, but Wancheng actually had Hua Lu come and invite him to sleep in the room. Lin Qingyu came to the room, a calm expression on his face. Wancheng had finished drinking the medicine and was about to go to bed. When he saw him, he smiled. "You're here?" Lin Qingyu asked bluntly. "What do you mean by this?" Wancheng didn't understand. "What do you mean?" "Didn't you say that we don't have to take this marriage seriously?" "That's right." "Then why do you want me to come back here to sleep?" Wancheng understood, and he said with a smile, "You misunderstood. I didn't ask you to come back here so that I could sleep with you." The simple and direct words made Lin Qingyu's face go hot. "Whatever the case may be, you are still the young master of a noble house. Can't you speak with a bit more dignity?" Wancheng said, assuming a very dignified tone of voice. I didn't ask you to come here to sorry. I didn't ask you to come here for me to sleep with you. After all, no matter how good looking you are still a man, and I am not a cut sleeve. Lin Qingyu took a deep breath and decided not to bicker with with Lu Wancheng. If you've got something to say, then just say it. I want some of your good fortune to rub off on me. Lu Wancheng looked pensive as he said, I feel that when I'm with you, my body feels more relaxed. Lin Qingyu paused. Are you serious? Lu Wancheng nodded. Very serious. The corners of Lin Qingyu's mouth moved slightly, and he sneered out a stupid. I didn't expect you to believe in these things too. He thought that Lu Wancheng was different from the other people in the Nan'an Hou Mansion. He had overestimated him. Before, I believed it even less than you do. But now, I believe it a little, Lu Wancheng said slowly. Dr. Lin, do you believe that people have 3 immortal souls and 6 mortal souls, and that we transmigrate between life and death? Lin Qingyu resolutely said, I don't believe it. Why? Because I've never seen it. But I've seen it. Then you must have been mistaken. Wancheng said quietly, Oh, I know no one believes it. Lin Qingyu furrowed his brows. So, you also believe the national teacher's nonsense? If it hadn't been for the national teacher coming out with those 8 characters, the subsequent Xiangxi would have never happened. Oh, just a moment. Yui's here. 1 sec.
Sorry about that. That was really weird. I thought I heard him whining or crying at the door, and apparently not. That was really, really odd. Really weird. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Okay. The subsequent Xiangxi would have never happened. Naturally, the national teacher's great name was was also on his great list of grudges. I fucking hate that dog. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're just going to have to bear with me. There's going to be barking throughout this. I'm really, really, really sorry. The national. Oh, fucking shush. The national teacher, Wancheng muttered to himself. You've reminded me that I should find the time to go meet with this national teacher of the Dayu, who has access to the heavens and knows the ways of ghosts and gods. Then Qingyu said bluntly, You'll need to be able to get out of bed first. Although the national teacher has never been tainted by political affairs, he nevertheless held a very distinguished status, comparable to descendants of the imperial family. He was often called by the emperor to accompany him in the palace. If Wancheng wanted to see him, he could only beg for an audience. Wancheng returned to his senses and said, Let's not talk about that for now. Dr. Lin, look at the Luhan bed that Hua Lu has prepared for you. What Luhan? Then Qingyu only then noticed that the Luhan bed he had slept on last night was now covered with a thick mattress and quilt. It even had a soft pillow. It now looked no different from a small bed. Then Qingyu momentarily lost control over his expression. He didn't know whether to praise or scold him. Wancheng said generously, Well, I don't mind sleeping with a man. I'm afraid you would. When Lin Qingyu had left home to study, he had traveled with his teacher and sometimes slept in the same bed as his fellow apprentices. It wasn't a big deal for two straight men to sleep together. But Wancheng was still his husband in name. He simply couldn't interact with Wancheng the same as he would any other man. In any case, sleeping on a luohan was more comfortable than sleeping over a desk. And this way, it will also save him the bother of Liang Shi kicking up a fuss if she discovers that they've been sleeping in separate rooms. Lin Qingyu took notice and said, I'll go wash first. This isn't good. I can feel myself losing my voice. I have most definitely been using it too much for the past 2 weeks. Not good, not good. Hang in there. As the night got deeper, the lights in the Hou Mansion went out one by one. Two newly married men, one sleeping on the bed, the other lying on the luohan, separated by a screen embroidered with a picture of mandarin ducks playing in the water. Mandarin ducks are the symbolism for soulmates, FYI. Wancheng had slept too much during the day, and he wasn't very sleepy right now. He folded his hands behind his head and chatted with Lin Qingyu. Dr. Lin, how old are you this year? Lin Qingyu had his eyes closed, not the least bit interested. He said, 18. From a normal perspective, you're probably a few months older than me.
How about I call you Yuga from now on?
Lin Qingyu asked.
Do you have a headache?
Wancheng paused to see if he did.
No, it doesn't hurt. And to hear I thought the sickness must have addled your brain and you forgot your own age. Oh? How old am I?
Is this man stupid or just pretending to be stupid? For the sake of one's health, it wasn't advisable to go to sleep feeling irritated. Lin Qingyu tried his best to calm down.
19. What luck!
Wancheng smiled.
Then you can call me Wancheng instead. Wancheng instead.
Lin Qingyu turned over, leaving only the back of his head to Wancheng.
Go to sleep, young Master Hou. In your dreams, you can have anything.
Wancheng laughed lowly. Sounding puzzled, he thought aloud to himself.
A bad-tempered beauty. Such a charming character design was unexpectedly not made into the protagonist.
The night was deep, and Lin Qingyu was exhausted both physically and mentally. He allowed himself to sink into a dream. The Dayu Palace... I can never remember if it's Dayu or Dayu. I think Dayu is the term for the underworld. So I'm going to go Dayu. The Dayu placed great importance on medicine. In addition to the Imperial Hospital and the Imperial Pharmacy within the palace, it also set up the Imperial Medical Office outside it to train and select medical talents. Similar to the Imperial Examination, the Imperial Medical Office would hold an examination every 3 years, regardless of one's social status, no matter who one's teacher was. As long as they were able to pass the examination, they could enter the Imperial Medical Office. There, they could read the world's most remarkable books, be awarded the world's precious materials, work together with famous doctors from within and without the Dayu. Perhaps they would enter the palace, or write a book, or journey to the other countries to study and do research. The Imperial Medical Office, the Holy Land of healers. How many people have broken their heads trying to get in? The assessment and selection were extremely strict. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was 1 in 10,000. Lin Qingyu was extraordinarily talented with incomparable skills. His teacher once asserted that he would pass the exam with a single take. But he still didn't dare to slack off and prepared for the exam for 3 whole years. It was finally the day of the examination. He and a few fellow students waited outside the examination venue. The young man was full of spirit, having already prepared in advance. He was talking and laughing happily. In him, there wasn't the slightest bit of nervousness or apprehension as seen in the others. The vermilion door of the examination venue slowly opened, and Lin Qingyu's eyes lit up. He walked up the stairs, step by step, walking towards his ideal Holy Land. In a moment, he was about to touch that beam of light when a strange voice stopped him. It was a man in eunuch's robes. Lin Qingyu couldn't see his face clearly, only the bright yellow imperial decree he was holding in his hands. The imperial edict is here. Lin Qingyu, please accept the decree. Lin Qingyu knelt down and listened to the decree. The other candidates didn't seem at all to care about this sudden change, and one by one, they walked into the examination venue.
forming empty shadows behind Lin Qingyu.
By the grace of the gods, the emperor bestows a wedding upon Wancheng, son of Nan'an Hou, of precious moral standing, of extraordinary appearance, and soon to reach weak crown, and the son of Lin Jiaoxing, Yon Pan of the Imperial Hospital. And soon to reach weak crown, and the son of Lin Xiaoxing, Yan Pan of the Imperial Hospital, of commendable conduct and filial piety, and of dignified appearance. Choose an auspicious day for the big wedding. The Emperor himself so decrees.
Lin Qingyu looked up in amazement. The bright yellow light was so blinding he could hardly open his eyes. The doors of the Imperial Medical Office slammed shut. Lin Qingyu abruptly woke up from his dream. In the silence, there was only the sound of him gasping for breath. His rapidly beating heart gradually calmed down, but the pent-up frustration and unwillingness were like thick inkstones. They could not be dissipated nor dispelled from his heart. The dream and reality were not the same. In reality, the eunuch who passed the decree went directly to the Lin residence, after which his qualifications to take the exam were cancelled. Way before the day of the exam, he became the male wife of the Nan'an Hou Mansion. There was still an hour before dawn, but Lin Qingyu could no longer sleep. He got out of bed and wanted to pour himself a cup of tea when he heard a deliberately muffled groan. It was Wancheng's voice. Lin Qingyu lit a lamp and walked quickly to the bedside. "Young Master Hou?" Wancheng curled up on the bed, his body slightly arched, his eyes tightly closed. His face was somewhat twisted, and his long hair stuck to his face with cold sweat. Lin Qingyu called again. "Wancheng?" Wancheng opened his eyes, the expression in his eyes slack. "Dr. Lin?" "It's me." "Dr. Lin, I feel uncomfortable." Lin Qingyu felt Wancheng's pulse and determined that he was the victim of heart palpitations. I know, Lin Qingyu said in a rarely heard, gentle tone of voice. "It feels uncomfortable in your chest, doesn't it?" Wancheng nodded. "Bear with it. I'll be back soon." Wancheng said feebly, "Are you going to get a knife?" Lin Qingyu could make neither head nor tail of it. "What would I do with a knife?" "Finish off a wounded combatant?" Lin Qingyu's tone returned to its usual indifference. "I have no interest in killing people." But before the wedding, he really had entertained the idea of drugging Wancheng with something that would render him impotent. If it hadn't been for Wancheng's good performance on their wedding night, proposing first that he not take the marriage seriously, Wancheng might now already be halfway to becoming a eunuch. Lin Qingyu took out a wooden medical box from his chest of clothes. Inside were a lot of his favorite creations, most of which were poisons. Of course, there were also some good medicines for healing and saving people. Lin Qingyu returned to his bedside with a porcelain bottle and an acupuncture bag in his hand. This is the Genshi pill. This is the Genshin pill, which can relieve your palpitations. Would you like to take it?" Wancheng said, "Eat and live, I say." Lin Qingyu resisted the urge to turn around and leave. He helped Wancheng up and put the Genshin pill into his mouth. "Just in case, I will also pierce you with 2 needles," Wancheng seemed to remember some kind of shadow from his childhood. He held his arm and tried to get up. You're going to run a needle into me? It's acupuncture. Oh. Wancheng lay back down. Then please be gentle. Lin Qingyu, I'm going to use force. Wancheng. Lin Qingyu deepened his breathing. Acupuncture was a meticulous job, and he needed to concentrate all his attention on it. Dr. Lin, I'm going to die. Dr. Lin, am I going to die again already? Save my life if you can, but don't force it if you can't. Wancheng sighed. I only slept for a few days and woke up naturally. Shut up. Sweat was seeping from Lin Qingyu's forehead. His eyes gleamed and he focused on the first needle. I won't let you die. At least not tonight. After taking medicine and receiving acupuncture, Wancheng's symptoms were relieved, and he soon fell back asleep. Lin Qingyu breathed a sigh of relief. He raised his eyes and looked out the window. The sky was already tinted with gray of dawn. The next day, the sun was already 3 poles high, but Wancheng was still not awake. Hua Lu was increasingly worried. She couldn't help from going over to check in on his breathing. Lin Qingyu saw this and said, If you're so free, go and sweep the yard. Hua Lu said, Xiaojun, young master has been sleeping for 12 hours. Is this really all right? Lin Qingyu took no notice of it. Patients should sleep more. Patients should sleep more. But before Hua Lu could breathe out a sigh of relief, he added, But he really does sleep a lot. Did he lack sleep before? Hua Lu shook her head. No, the young master's body is weak. He's usually laid up in bed, and he always sleeps whenever he feels sleepy. Lin Qingyu grew pensive upon hearing this. It wasn't until the Wei Shi that Wancheng slowly woke up. Lin Qingyu was called by him to his bedside and made to accept his thanks. Dr. Lin, I was very fortunate to have you here last night. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even known how I died. Seeing that his complexion looked good, Lin Qingyu didn't bother to hold back his mouth. Naturally, you would have died of illness. It is a great favor that I owe you. A favor that I wouldn't be able to possibly repay. I have decided. For you, I shall do one difficult and troublesome thing. Lin Qingyu was indifferent. That won't be necessary. Just talk less before going to bed. Huh? Wancheng smiled. Are you saying I talk too much? As the two were talking, Feng Xin came in to report. Young master, Xiaojun, the second young lady is here. Feng Xin's second young lady was Wancheng's younger sister, whom Lin Qingyu had yet to see. Wancheng muttered to himself as he pondered. Second young lady. What is she here to do? Lin Qingyu said, Naturally, she's here to visit the sick. I won't bother you siblings. Wancheng grabbed his sleeve and said, Look how impatient you are. I didn't say I was going to see her. Feng Xin was surprised. Young master isn't going to see the second young lady? You've always had the best relationship. I think the second young lady even brought the knee pads she made herself. She would be here to give them to the young master. She already came here once yesterday, only that when she found that young master was asleep, she went back first.
Lin Qingyu had no affection for the people of the Nan'an Hou Mansion. But Lu Wancheng was not him. His sister has repeatedly come to visit him. As her brother, how could he possibly turn a blind eye to it? Lin Qingyu said, "If you don't see her this time, she will just come again next time. She is your sister. What are you hiding for?" "I'm not hiding. I just don't feel like pretending to like them. I don't want to bother feigning civility." Fuck, Lu Wancheng, you're my spirit animal. Lu Wancheng thought for a while and said, "How about this? Feng Xin, give her my reply. Tell her to treat me as dead." Saying so, Lu Wancheng turned over, leaving other people with the view of a lonely and stubborn back. Author's note. Based on your many years of experience reading book transmigration novels, if the grumpy beauty is not the protagonist of the original book, then he is the big villain Cannon Fodder Gong, Cannon Fodder Show, a great, honorable, and proper member of the protagonist's family. P.S. Why do you all want the big beauty to quickly be widowed? The salted fish Gong is going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Gong is, how do I say this? Top. Show is bottom, in simplest terms. So yeah, so there's 3 and 4. I'm going to take a very long break and get a good night's sleep tonight, and then tomorrow I will get on chapters 5 and 6 and get those redone. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry that this took so long to get up. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, follow, like, I don't even know. We will be starting, I will be changing my original live streaming schedule on Twitch from Sunday nights to Monday nights. And so it's every Wednesday night at 8 and every Monday night at 7. That schedule is also available on my Twitch, and the links for which are all in the description below, as well as the YouTube channel for SAF, Serdd's Audio Fanfiction, so my fanfiction podcast, which, if you're a fan of this story, you're probably a fan of Mo Dao Zishu or, Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, for which I have quite a few, an ongoing series over on SAF. So if you want to follow those links, those they're down below. Also, you can support this author if you are enjoying this and you would like to purchase these chapters for yourself. They are in Chinese. But if you would like to support the author, all of those links and the summary and the author page and all of that are also in the description. I thank you so, so much for joining me, and I hope that you follow this and go on to the next video, which for right now which will be chapters 5 and 6. If it's before I get those updated, they will not work. And if it's after I get those updated, enjoy. Alrighty, that's it from us for now. From myself and Yui, we wish you a very good night. And until next time, happy reading.